Hello everyone, myself Biju Borah. I am a core member at GDSC NIT Silchar. I welcome you all to this amazing session of Jetpack Compose, which is the Compost camp. Along with me, here is Ayush Gupta, who is the Android moderator at GDSC NIT Silchar, with whom we have our lead and other core member present in the meet. On today's session, we will walk through our intro session on Compost Camp. We will cover up what exactly Compost Camp is. Along with this, we will deep dive into the basic of Kotlin. I request you all to please join through your laptop for better experience. Next slide. So everyone please join through your laptop. So let's have a quick fun. This is a Slido quiz and we have our code here. You guys can scan the QR code, or you can just type the code in the slido.com and join the quiz. So I will wait here for 5 minutes. So everyone please join the Slido quiz. Okay, if you have joined the Slido, you can type message in the chat box that you have joined. I think everyone have joined, so we will move ahead to the quiz. So next slide, please. Let's have a quick fun. So what comes to your mind when you hear the name Android? You guys can type in the Slido and it will pop up in this slide. Who is this guy, Ultron? So yeah. You guys can write anything that comes in your mind. Yeah, Android is an OS, mobile application and UI. Great. No, Android is not a Flutter. Okay, so we can see there is lots of both for the apps. So basically, Android is an operating system. So Android development is a process of developing app for the Android. So you guys are correct that we are going to build app for the Android. And yeah, Android is an operating system. So which Android app UI do you like the most?
Yeah, like Android app, like we are going to make through Jetpack Compose, which is all related to UI. So which Android apps UI you like the most? Okay, YouTube, we are getting a good response from YouTube for YouTube.
Yeah.
Mintra, GPay, okay, fine. Discord. Okay, then next is Instagram. Yeah, I was waiting for Instagram only.
Nice.
GPay, Discord.
I can see you guys are active in Discord.
Telegram, fine.
IRCTC, wow.
IRCTC. Okay, great. Clash of Clans. Okay, wow. TikTok.
I think you guys are
Amazing.
active on Discord. That's why there is lots of vote for this.
It's a majority. Yeah, it's like YouTube majority. Like, think about it. Yeah.
Clash of Clans is dead.
WhatsApp. Okay, finally. Okay, WhatsApp hitting. Any more? Zomato. Okay. Spotify. Yeah, Spotify also good. Candy Crush. Okay, fine. Any more? Amazon. Okay. Okay, Discord, Spotify, WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram. Okay, fine. So yeah. Okay. Any more app or are we done? YouTube is the like most favorite UI app. UI. Okay, I think YouTube is the one. Okay, we can move to the next question, I guess. Okay, now this is some about GDSC and IT Silchar. So, what are other events by GDSC and ITS have you attended like till now? Like this is your
Yeah.
attending Compose camp. You can write it as an answer, but yeah, okay, web blaze, yeah, great Compose camp. Okay, fine. Any more? Or you might be thinking that this is the like what events you'd want GDSC to organize further. You can also write that. Flutter Festival, great. Speaker sessions, fine. Tech Nerd, okay. Flutter Festival is there. Web Blitz, Explore, Solution Challenge. Okay, any more? I think open source, okay. Wow. 30 days of cloud, yes, okay. GDSC Explore speaker session, fine. Okay. NITS hacks, okay, fine. Yeah, NITS hacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So most of you are like web developer. You guys have attended
Yeah,
like
web
this.
is highlighting.
So
Okay. One participant still typing. Okay, two are typing. Okay, let's see. What are they typing? Everyone join. I like there are 52, like almost like 50 attendees and less responses and not so much. Just think. Prototype plenary. Fine. Okay, fine. I think Biju we can go
please take
like
the
further,
attend.
right?
Okay. So let's go ahead and move to the next slide. So what is Compost Camp? So basically, Compost Camp are community organized event focused on how to build Android app using Jetpack Compose. So have you ever heard about Jetpack Compose? I think most of you have not. Android developer might know a bit about this, but don't worry, this session is for absolute beginner. You don't need any prior knowledge of Android to continue this session. So what are the benefits of Compose Camp? You will get in-hand coding experience on how to develop app using latest toolset Compose, the modern way to develop UI on Android. In simple word, Jetpack Compose is an Android model toolkit for building native UI. It simplifies and accelerates UI development on Android. We will be covering the beginner track in day 1 and day 2 with Ayush Gupta. So to the next slide. So this session is for both beginner and intermediate. Those who are new to Android app development, also those who have experience on Android development, who are Android experience on Android developer and are familiar with Kotlin and Vue system. So next slide. So if you go to the Compost website, which is google.com/compost, you will get a pathway where you can like uh, study the pathway. The pathway consists of a sequence of learning activity like video, article, code lab. It will help you to learn about the certain technical topics, and it will also give you an experience on how apps work. After completing the pathway, you can give the quiz, and it will give you a badge. You will earn a digital badge, which will be showcased in your developer profile. So what is basically developer profile? So every person who are logging into the developer.google.com, they have their personal profile, which can be like make public, and you can like share your digital badge to your teammates or to your friends. That you can share it on like LinkedIn. You can like showcase your talent. Each badge is earned using like completing every pathway. So you have to like give quiz successfully, and if you are passed in every pathway, you will earn a digital badge. So we will like circulate a G form where you will be like giving away your Google developer profile link, and we will track your digital badges. So for every pathway completed, we will track if a person has completed the pathway or not. On the basis of the digital badge, we will like so on the basis of digital badge, we will like at the end of the Compost camp, we will give away the certificate to the people who have joined the Compost camp. So everyone should like complete the pathway before the deadline and earn the badge, which will showcase in the developer profile, and share us the Google profile link, and we will keep track of your pathway and like keep track like how you have performed, and on that basis we will like give away you the certificate for the Compost camp. So now I would like to hand over to Ayush Gupta, who will be teaching you the basics of Kotlin.
Okay. So yeah, next slide. Okay, so now we are going to learn about the Kotlin basics. So as you all know, like when we are starting Android, we had to before learning about Jetpack Compose or any other stuff, we should know like basics of Kotlin. And it's not like if you don't know beforehand, we will just with the pathways, you just go on the like when you will go to the learning section or the pathways, you will find out that how like all the basics you require. Like you might have a prior programming experience in C++, Java, C, so you can easily just learn Kotlin. Just and in that pathway they have like beautifully defined everything, so you will be learning. Plus I will be helping you whatever requirements you need to for the Jetpack Compose. Okay, so let's start with some Kotlin basics you require, and it will be a small session only. I'm not going to give so much knowledge about, but yeah, some basics about the Kotlin language. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as you all know, what are variables? You might have know already that what are variables. Okay, uh, in Kotlin, basically there are the same way we in like if you declare how you declare variables in C++ or Java, it's like int a equal to 2, right? Similarly, here is some change in Kotlin. What are the changes is like you can see the only change, or there might be some changes in the language how we are going to write, right? For example, in the your first line, you're saying that this is a mutable variable, and and it's like val count int equal to 2. So what are you understanding from this particular line? So is that there we are declaring integer variable count, which is we will be assigning value as 2, right? And from the down part, from the next string, the text which we are seeing as immutable variable. Now, you from the first glance you might have understand that this is a string, right? Text is a string which has compose camp as its value, right? So what is the difference between the only difference you are seeing is the val and the var. Now, what does this means and why we need it? Suppose var stands means var means variable. What does it mean? So var means variable. Now, why variable means that this particular string can be changed later on during our whole program, right? But looking about the count we discovered as val means it will going to be a constant value and you cannot change it later in your program. Like can you think like how we declare like the constant variables in C++ or Java? You might be like many of you might be knowing Java, C++. So can you think or can you write in the chat box how you declare a constant variable in Java or C++? Yeah. Okay, fine. Very great. So we like CONST, that is stands for constant. So that means what does it? This shows that this value is not going to change throughout our function, right, or throughout our program. Similarly, here we just know yeah, okay, constant. And any more about anyone who know Java? What we use the word, like what keyword we use in Java? Let me see. Static. No, I guess it's okay. Leave it. Let us talk about this only. So Kotlin, when we talk about, it's val and var. Okay, so val means it's going to be constant uh, throughout the functionality, and var means it's going to be variable, right? You can easily text the change the text, right? Okay. Yeah. So this part is clear, right? How we declare variable in it. Yeah. Write in the chat box to let me know that you are guys are like understanding. So is it clear, right? You just use where and where, val and where. Just the difference, like which we use mostly. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. So next slide. Okay. So this is already So what are the data types? Just the data types we already have these types of data in other programming languages also. So we have int, double, boolean, char, string. So there might be how we write in the code, that might be different. So suppose in C++ you write small int, but here when you're declaring it, you just need to focus on capital NT, like capital I and then NT. You're seeing that double, when you're writing double, you in C++ how you write boolean, you write bool, right? Small, all small, right? But here we write capital B and whole. So it's just like declarations are different, but overall the structure is almost same. So that's what I said previously also, that if you know C++ or Java or any of the language, it's very easy to learn and to understand Kotlin. You just there's some changes in the how we write the code. Otherwise, the whole logic is already same, right? So these are the data types, which is int, double, boolean, char, string. There's also a data type which is unit, which you can actually go and search later on. That this is also a data type in Kotlin, I guess. Okay, so next slide. Okay, yeah. So now let's talk about functions. So I think in your you might have already know what are functions, how what do we do, right? In actually in C++ and Java, it's the main thing, right? So like, can anybody tell or write what is main function? Like, let me know. Okay, I think you already know, right? What is main function? And then after that, it's just very easy. It's just like you understand the logic. It just maybe how you write is a little different, but the whole logic is already same. So main function, anyone? Okay, the first function that is executed when the program runs. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is the where the compiler, so the interpreter goes, right? The main function. Okay, starting point of program. Very great. So yeah, so this actually in Kotlin also it's just the same, but here you see we are writing fun. Fun, what does it? You can think of what does it going to tell you? What is it telling you? That is the function, right? Okay. So function main. So just the keyword we use in Kotlin, just like fun main. Now there are if you down, like you are going to see there are two variables. Now is it constant variables, or it is they can change? S1 and S2 can change, or are they constant? Let me know. Like I told like uh, yeah, they can change, of course, because they are variables. So definitely they can change later on. Fine, great. That means you all are listening. So yeah, okay, fine. So yeah, so S1 is the variable which is of string type, and it is having compose. And similarly, there is S2 we are declaring, and that has the value of camp, right? Compose and camp. Now you see, now tell me display, as you can all see that display whatever its value it will store, that value will not going to change in, because if I have declared it with val, right? I declared it val, so it will not going to change. So what I wrote is add string, and I just passed down two variables, that is S1 and S2, right? And if you see the above part, that is function add string S1 of type string, S2 of type string. Now, in C++ or Java, you might be knowing that how we write the function. Suppose the same function, if I need to write, I would have written like string, add string, and then string S1, comma string S2, right? Just the same, but there's some changes in the how we write the code in Kotlin, right? But can you notice the basic difference of okay, there's very common difference. Like if you would have written in C++ or Java, at the state point there would be an error key. The compiler will tell you there is something missing. Anybody? Okay, I have added like extra. Okay, how is where S2 and where S1 not same? Okay, I'll discuss it. But okay, no, in S2, no, you are just missing this very common thing, which I think yeah, semicolon, someone said it. Okay, I have actually by mistake added in the third, like in displays, the semicolon, but in Kotlin, you don't need to write the semicolons, right? You can see the whole function is running and it will not going to give you error. So that's what, like the functions here you can write without the semicolon. So I think, yeah, somebody noticed, that's great, because in C++ or Java, you just can, or in C or in most of the language, you cannot imagine without writing the semicolon, the code will execute, right? Because, and like with due course of time, it's like the habit of like clicking the semicolon by at the end of the line, right? So most of the time when people used to shift from Java to Kotlin, the first thing they do is to, like, they cannot stop themselves from clicking the semicolon. Actually, it will not give you error in Kotlin because they know, like, it will just be a warning that you cannot that you don't need to use the semicolon, but it's not going to give you a warning. But you can use without the semicolon, the code will execute properly, right? Okay, do we need to specify return types for function in Kotlin? Yeah, actually you can see here, okay, data type of S2. Okay, fine. Yeah, this doubt has somebody have raised up. I was going to talk about it. Now, what is the data type of S2? Like if you would have written in C++ or Java, like int a equal to 2, it will run. What if you write simply a equal to 2? Will it run? Will it run in Java or C++ a equal to 2? Will it run? No, it will not run, right? Because the compiler will tell you that you need to declare a data type for it, like what data type it is, right? But here, the compiler will understand that you are declaring S2 equal to some cam, right? Which is a string. So it will automatically update S2 as, or it will consider S2 as in string only, right? So this is the beauty of Kotlin. Like this is what the small things, or small the pain points. Like when you're working thousands of lines of code, you just don't need to write every time int a equal to 2. So that's why it is made, right, to just simplify the programming, right? So that's why you can see I have not written in the second line the string, but it is automatically understood. The compiler understand that this is a string. Okay. Okay, now talking about the function. Now the function, as you can see, it's already same, and it has to be a return type, right? Return type is string, right? And we have specified it, right? Now if I would have not written string, what would have happened, right? In fact, like, let me talk about, I have not written the return type in the main function. Can you see it? Like I had not put it a semicolon and write like something void or something, right? Can you see? I have not written it. What does this mean? What does this mean is that if it is void, if you are not displaying any return type, it's understood by the compiler that the function is nothing but a void function. Okay, like in C++ or Java, you had to write void main and then the code will run, or integer main, or even if the void function, you need to define that it will return void data type, right? But here you don't need. If you're not retain anything as a return type, it will be understood by the compiler that this is nothing but a void function. Okay, now since I have to return something that is s1 plus s2, like you see the top function that is add string. So you can see that I had to return the string, right? So that time I need to specify that this is what I'm returning is a string. Am I clear? So these are about the functions. You will just small points that you need to think, that will help you. Like when you will see the pathways and the course you will going to follow, it will tell you all these basics, and you will really feel great. So you just start, when you do practicing, you just happen to, like, now most of you are familiar with Java, C++, so it's more easy for you to write void rather to not write, right? But with time you will understand. Okay, so next slide. Okay, compacting functions. Now, like, see the bottom part. I had just told you, like, suppose I have an integer variable x, which I passed it to a function, and I want it, like, as the function says, x plus 2, right? So I had simply put the function, and I declared a return data type, and I had opened the curly braces and return x plus 2. This was the complete function, right? This is the complete function you can see on the screen, and you can eventually try on the Kotlin. Like, you can eventually have IntelliJ IDEA or somewhere. You can try these all things, and while doing for your pathways or your core, your course, you will understand that they will provide something that where you can type or learn something actually. So as you can see here, I had declared a data type, and then I had written x plus 2, right? But if you see the above line, the compact function, what I have written there, function, the function name, I passed on the variable, and I had given it a return type, and I have directly written x plus 2. Now you can see, like, how much better it is. Like, I don't need to write the curly braces, I don't need to write anything. Like, this is what we say, why we say with the Kotlin, why we are using Kotlin is just it's so, compact. It's so simple and compact, so it's very easy for the programmer to type, right? Simply, if you would have written the same code in C++ and Java, how would you have written? You would have written int x plus 2, and you have passed out int x, and then you open the curly braces, and then you return the x plus 2, right? That's how you write. So see, I am also a C++ programmer, so I have mentioned the semicolon here, but it doesn't need it. In Kotlin or in Android Studio, when you're just going to type in Kotlin, and you don't need semicolon to put. Okay, so this is how we do compacting of functions, right? Similarly, anything, right? It can be a string, or I can write string equal to something, right? So this is how we compact the same three lines of code and two lines of code, and a single line of code. Both the logic are same, just that it's compact, and it just tells you, like, you can understand. And somebody who is not knowing, who don't know Kotlin, but still, from seeing the function or from seeing the compact function also, he can actually tell what the program is doing, right? Okay, so yeah, next slide. Okay. Now, how, like, class declaration? Like, this is the class declaration you might have studied in C++ or Java. Now, how you declare while declaring a class function? I can tell about Java also, in C++ also. So, right, you can see, suppose I need to declare a class in Java or C++. How we define is class student, and then open the curly braces, and then constructor, then elements, right? All of these things. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Java, but we define setters and getters there. Like set value, get value. You might have done in C++. Suppose I need to get the value for, suppose I have declared here student, scholar ID. Suppose I need to get the value for scholar ID. So in the class, I'll write the function, right, which will be, right, returning us, which won't be returning us, but will be getting value from the main function about the scholar ID, or the integer which I need to put in the class, in class integer value, or the scholar ID value, which what value I need to put. I need to declare a function there, right? But can you see how within a single line I have described it? We don't need getters, we don't need setters, we just write data class. Data class, what does it this means? We have simple class also, but this is data class because we want to store the data here. Okay, we want to simply store the data here. That's why there are many classes we will learn more about later on. But just think about that, if you would have the same code, if you would have written in C++ Java, how long that code would have been, right? But here you just need to declare the class, and within the curly braces you have declared two variables, and two variables are there: scholar ID and name. Both scholar ID is taking your integer value and name is taking your string value. Okay, so while declaring it, it's all clear. So you don't need getters and setters in this case. So that's compact Kotlin language is. So you can understand how much easy it is, or how much short, or how much time it will save of the of the reader also, and the one who is written also, for both of them. Because you just read 10 lines of code and you read 3 lines of code, you definitely save time reading 3 lines of code, right? So that's what we do in class declaration, that's what we do in Kotlin. Okay, next slide. Okay, now the biggest pain point in Java, if you all are familiar or a little bit, it's the null pointer exception. You might have seen this null pointer exception also in, I don't know, like maybe C++ also sometimes, when like we don't declare any value, int a equal int a, and then we write C out, and then it just gives some random value to you, right? So that's what happened here. Suppose you in Java also, it's what does it gives you? It will run, it will execute, but last it will give you null pointer exception. And exceptions is something you don't want in your app or in your website or anywhere, right? You don't want that when user clicks something or something happens. Suppose I forgot to give the value, or but I don't want the exception. Suppose you are running some application, because of this null pointer exception your app is not running. So we don't want exceptions. We want, maybe when I'm writing the code, I might get some notification that, yeah, this is something a nullable expression. So you need to declare, you need to give it some value before, using it. You need to give it some value. So that's what we do in Kotlin also. That's what code safety is all about. So as you can see, where player name string player name equal to null. So I might have defined it null. Suppose null. So it will give you compilation error. In Kotlin, it will not compile, like you don't need to run. It will automatically there itself, it will tell you that this is a compilation error. Now, how does we overcome this? We now, below the line, you can see variable player name string question mark equal to null. So that question mark defines you that this is something a nullable type, right? And suppose I used it later on, it's like player name dot length. So here it will give you the compilation error, because it will tell you that this is automatic. If I would have written the same code in Java or C++, suppose I declare a string s equal and I don't declare anything, and I see out s, so it will give you some random value or something. My something ambiguous happens, right? We don't know what is going to happen. We give you some random data. Suppose int a and see out a. It will give you some random data. But here, the code safety, this, because of this question mark and because of this expression, you will automatically get to know that this is a nullable type. So the programmer will be aware that this is nullable. So I don't need to, like, before using it, I need to declare it something, right? So you cannot use it. So this question mark is that how code safety performs in Kotlin, right? So you're getting a glimpse that how advanced this language is. So as it's mostly like, we always say that Kotlin is nothing but advanced Java, short Java, advanced Java, and with more safety the programming language offers to you. Okay, so next slide. Okay, finally, after all learning about what is Kotlin and how much great it is, we are finally back to the topic. Okay, so before starting, what Jetpack Compose, can you like think, or you might have studied, or you might have read before applying for this session? Now, can you anybody tell what is Jetpack Compose? Like, I want to know, like, how many have some certain idea about Jetpack Compose, like anything. Alternative to XML. Okay, great. It is alternative to XML. Okay, fine. Any other? What is Jetpack Compose? Now, why we are just learning so much Kotlin, everything? Why it is? What is Jetpack Compose? Anybody just think, just Google it. Maybe it'll help you. Okay, it's just alternative to XML only. Yeah, used for making native UI. Great. Yeah, so native UI, like native Android, initially how we just used to make a UI was to with the help of XML, right? Now as we are shifting, we want to try using the Kotlin, using the main activity function or Kotlin. We want to change the UI. So because of that, we are bringing the Jetpack Compose in the mainstream. Okay, so used for making native UI. So it's all about learning about Jetpack Compose. What does it do and how does it happen? So we are going to learn. Okay, so yeah. Any more answers? Like I still want to hear what is Jetpack Compose. A powerful tool that lessons. Okay, yeah, that lessons are code. Great. Jetpack Compose. Okay, you will be like I'll be teaching you. Plus, you are going to learn with the help of the course that just going to provide you. As Biju Borah said only that we will be having the pathways that you need to complete, and we'll keep the track of your like where till where you have read or till how many batches you have earned, and based on it, after the certain period of time, we are going to check that how many of you have completed the same course, so we will understand lots of it's going to be a fun thing learning about Jetpack Compose, because as an engineer we need to keep on learning new things, right? And that's how we grow, right? If like no XML में भी काम चल रहा था, it's all working fine, but we had to improve with time, so that's why we are bringing Jetpack Compose into the mainstream now. Okay, so yeah, and only two answers I got right. Okay, that's sad. I need more. What is Jetpack Compose? Until you will not put efforts, it'll just try to put some effort. It'll help you. You will learn. Okay, I think I can go to the next slide. So yeah, next slide. Okay, now I can tell. Jetpack Compose is a modern toolkit designed to simplify UI development. Yeah, as Pratik and Navneet already said, so हम लोग को जो है UI development का काम आसान करना है, right? Simple भाषा में. Jetpack Compose is a modern toolkit designed to simplify UI development. Right? It doesn't related to the backend. It's just about the UI, how I can change the UI with the help, not with the help of XML, but with the help of the Kotlin functions that we're going to learn. Okay, and that's how easy it is going to be, right? Suppose initially I just want to change my background color of Android app. Now, if I would have to change that, I just need to go to the XML file. I need to change the color there, right? But now what will happen? I'll just in my main activity, I'll just in my main function, or you can say main activity or the on create function, if you know a little bit of on, right? So I'll just declare a function which is composable. Okay, we are just going to learn. I'm just telling you more about it, but yeah, it's more like now I can change with the help of Kotlin only. With the help of my main activity, I can write, change the background color. That's how we will going to impact, right? We don't need XML file. Okay, so you might have seen. Okay, yeah, maybe later we'll talk about it. Okay, yeah, next slide. Okay, now benefits of using Jetpack Compose. So as I was telling, less code. Do more with less code and avoid entire classes of bugs. Code is simpler and easier to maintain. Right? If there is 2 line of code and there is 10 lines of code, the possibilities of error will automatically going to reduce to very less amount, right? Suppose you're writing 10 lines, you're writing 2 lines. Grammatical mistakes, the possibility of you having the grammatical mistake, where it is going to be less? Is it in the 2 lines or is it in the 10 lines? Yeah, I want to know. I want to know in the comments. You have 2 lines of whatever your English teacher told you to write 2 lines of code. and some other teacher told you 10 lines of code. Where is the possibility that you're going to get less errors, grammatical errors? 2 lines, okay, 10 lines, okay, yeah, we'll talk about 10 lines also, okay. Lesson 2, right? Yeah, definitely lesson 2. I don't know, maybe how that person will get in 10 lines. Of course, like maybe he's okay, I cannot. Yes. Okay, so of course you're going to get in 2 lines of code, you're going to get less errors, right? Less grammatical mistakes as compared to 10 lines. Okay, so that's what we talk about. So with we require less code. We want that we write 1 line of code and it executes better, right? Without errors, right? And it's compact. It's compact. Like that's what I said in C++ and Java. We always write void, but in Kotlin we don't need to write void here. So similarly, Jetpack Compose is also doing the same way. It's trying to make less code. Okay. Now next is intuitive. Just describe your UI and Compose takes care of the rest. As app state changes, your UI automatically updates. Now that's the other feature. Now, when we talk about UI, uh, yeah. So if I want to change the UI particularly, I just need to go to the XML file and change the UI there. But here, because of the because it's like how you call functions. Suppose I want a factorial of 5 factorial. So what I do, I just create one function factorial, right? Or maybe you can have the multiplication table of 10. I just want a multiplication table of 10. So every time I need to write 10 ones are, 10 twos are, 10 threes are. But if I declare a function there and which will just simply returns directly, so I don't need to write the code 10 times. I'll just write code 10 times and going to get the output, right? And I don't need to write so much of code like 10 into 1, 10 into 2, 10 into 3. I'll just write the code function once and I'll get the output. Similarly here also, you just need to don't need to change your UI like that in every time. You just give the particular function how the changes are going to happen, and it will automatically happen the next time you want to have this change to occur. Now that's how it works, right? So I think I'm clear with that. Now accelerates development, compatible with all your existing code, so you can adopt when and where you want. Iterate fast with live previews and full Android Studio support. So as I said, that's going to make accelerate development. You're going to have like more focus. You can uh, like the person who is reading the code, he will understand in less time, because you're giving him 2 lines of code and 10 lines of code. Of course, maybe in 2 lines of code the code might be, he had to need some basics, but at least after knowing the basic he will understand the same thing. He will understand from learning from the 10 code of line. So time is saving, right? We can save time. And like when you talk about in today's world, everything we want in seconds, right? In fact, our mobile data, if for 5 minutes, if it is like slowing or it is not loading, we are in a hurry, right? It has to load. So right, so that's why we are trying to reduce the time. And last is the powerful. Create beautiful apps with direct access to the Android platform APIs and built-in support for material design, dark theme, animations, and more. So yeah, everyone is moving toward dark theme. Like most of the coders code in dark theme only in VS Code or in IntelliJ IDE. Yeah, so that's what I can tell about benefits of Jetpack Compose. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier, but I stopped because of this slide only. So now how suppose you are the compiler. Here it is the compose. It's there in Java, C++, it's a compiler. Here we say it's compose. Now how the compose will get to know that this function is related to UI? That's how we do with the help of the composable function. Now Jetpack Compose is built around composable functions. When you talk about, I want to justify, or I want to, give special attention to one person, right? Or the teacher acknowledges that this is a class of 10 students. I want that particular person has some specialty, like he maybe I need to give her more, give her or give him more attention. So it'll just, I need some identification, right? Maybe with the help of scholar ID, maybe with the help of his name. I can identify, right, that this function needs my special attention. So that's what this composable does, right? These functions let you define your app's UI programmatically, right? This functions helps you, right? How you can actually like these are the functions you need to work in UI. Okay. So here you can see function, greeting, name, string, text, hello, name. Now name is getting from the, maybe from the onCreate method, right? Because if you have opened Android once or twice, you have worked with Android earlier, you might have known we have an onCreate function. So I can just call that function greeting, and I can pass the parameters. Suppose I can say like with in the place of name I just placed Android. I just passed the Android string. So it just the same thing will happen, but on the top it has composable, right? So it will tell Compose to add special support to the function for updating and maintaining its UI over time. So that's what this the identification, that this, if there is written composable, that means yeah, it is related to some UI only. Understood? It's like identification. So how we identify it. Okay. Okay, now next slide. Now previewing a function, what does this previewing means, right? I think you know, when you're, if you would have worked in Android before, we are working in XML file. So there you have options to just see how the content is being displayed, right? In your phone, or some structure is being displayed. The same thing we want as here also. So preview annotation let you preview your composable functions within Android Studio without having to build and install the app to an Android device or emulator. So with the help of preview, I can see while I'm typing, while I'm making the changes, I can see that, yeah, this is how my mobile application will going to look like, right? This is how everything will going to look like. Okay. And based on it, I can make some changes. Suppose this preview I don't put, right? So you don't know what you have, you in your imagination, you have made an app, and with your specializations, like I added a button or something, but you can't see it, and when you're running it, it just emulate. When you see in the Android app or the emulator, it's showing something else. So we don't want it. That's why we use the preview annotation. So this preview annotation just like helps you preview your composable functions. The composable mode, you cannot just write preview at every function. It's based on composable. So above composable functions only you can need to write preview. So I can see what changes that is going to have on my device, or on my you know like on my application, what changes. So that's why we use previewing other function, right? Okay, next slide. Okay, yeah, so that's it for the intro session for today. Like it's been, yeah, of course, nearly an hour, I guess. Okay, so now we are open to the Q&A session. So all of the doubts like भैया कैसे करना है, certificate मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, सारे questions type in the Q&A. Me and Biju will going to answer it. So it's your time. Just whatever doubt you are coming, whatever you are thinking, just type in the chat box and we're going to answer that. And you can also tell us about the feedback, what changes you want, how was the session, what changes I need to do, and like what special topics, if you know what is Jetpack Compose, special topics you need to know. Any questions you can type in the chat box related to Jetpack Compose, Kotlin, or like how we are going to, you know, complete, or what are the badges. Yeah, and one more thing, it's very important, just try to make your profile public there. Okay, can you just like Pratik, can you just put on the slide where it was public or the badges were there, like previously? Yeah, there you go. See, uh, yeah, Google developer profile, you will go on there. Is it clicking? Is it working? Yeah, it's working there. Yeah, so it's like you need to see that here it is coming as a creating the profile. So firstly, if you have not, or if you have already created with some email, the profile will show it to you, like the profile will be displayed. Otherwise it will be like creating a profile, right? So when you create the profile, suppose I try to create a profile and I create some profile, it can happen, can I create? Yeah, so it'll just, fill out the forms like your name, I am interested. It will just ask you some basic questions. You can just try it out, and yeah, so everything is there. So you will just fill up your personal details, but in the last, you'll just go to that profile. When you'll click on the my profile, it will just you need to showcase that, yeah, this has to be a public profile. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can share, or it'll, because it will create a profile here. Let me see if I can share my screen and tell. Okay, till then, you can just type all your queries in the chat box. Please, I'll be happy. We are going to be happy to answer all the queries you are going to have. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fine. So just you see here. So this is my profile, Google developer profile. You can just go after creating this. You can see this is my name. I'm a student, and everything I just entered here. And this is after entering all the badges you're going to earn will be displayed here. Right? When you will complete that course, all the badges you're going to earn will be displayed here, and the most important thing is to make this public. So you can see I had made this profile public. Make sure if it is not public, just go on the settings here, and it will just maybe somewhere it will just, yeah, it is there, right? Public, right? Change settings here. Suppose initially you would have private as your profile. Initially everyone's profile is by default private, so you just need to go there and make it public so that we can see all your progress, right? I think, yeah, it's visible. I think it's clear, right? Yeah, so these are all the badges you are going to earn. uh, okay, and what more I can tell you? Okay, yeah, let me tell about the, wait a minute. Okay. So yeah, you can see here, this is the course we are all talking about. So this is Android Basic with Compost. So what will happen here, you can see these are your units, like these are units, your first Android app, building a UI, displaying list and use material design, navigation and app architecture. So these one you will just going to explore. Suppose I explore my first Android app and try to build it, and these are all the pathways. You can see all the pathways here: pathway 1, 2, 3, Kotlin introduction, setup Android in studio, build a basic layout. Suppose I explore this part, and I'll just, after finishing every part, suppose I uh, finish, I want to read this part. So yeah, these are all the profile, like, yeah, so you can see I received one batch, right? I'll just go there. Yeah, so you can see I have completed this 1+ code lab. So after reading every concept here, you are going to earn a badges here, right? And in the last, you are going to have a quiz. After that quiz, this particular pathway will be completed. And after that particular pathway is complete, you can just directly go to the next pathway, right? And you can have like further, you can move ahead with your learning. So this is like the Android basic compose. This is a unit we are going to talk, you going to learn. And the second is the intermediate track. This is the intermediate track. Jetpack Compose for Android developers. Now it's quite different. Why? Because they here we assume that you know some basics of Kotlin. So this was Android basics for everyone. Those who don't know Kotlin also, for them it's best to explore, with learning Kotlin. But this is for some intermediate users who already know like basics of Kotlin. So it's going to be easy for them to just explore all these pathways and uh, just learn through it. So I think I'm clear. Like the points I've told. Firstly, you just go to create a developer profile, and secondly, you just need to make after declaring it public. You need to make it declare public, right? The second is to make declare it public, and third is you need to complete all your tasks here. And the fourth most important is we will be circulating a Google form in which you need to just simply fill the application form because we want to know how many of you are interested in completing this course. Okay, so we will be circulating it with you guys. Fine. Okay. So now the Q&A questions session. Let me see. Okay, there are no Q&As. Let me check in the. Can I use Jetpack Compose in my existing screens of my app? Actually, it's like more. Can you explain the pathway once again? Okay. Any more questions? I'm just thinking. Yeah, these are all the doubt you might have. You all have, right? So just ask the question. So I'll just again explain. Let me see how many of you still are having doubt about it. Yeah, you can ask in the Slido. You can just comment in the chat box. Will we get certificates? Okay. Other questions? Yeah, ask it because this is the time, right? This is the intro session, and the next session we'll be learning more about Jetpack Compose. Yeah, so that will be a bit advanced, right? This is the intro session. There you can ask, you know, what to expect or any question you have. How hard is to get started with Android and subsequently Jetpack Compose? Okay, okay, fine. Any other questions? Please ask. Feel free to ask the questions. When and how will we get the forms that you have talked about? Okay. So these four questions only. I'm expecting like you might have everyone has doubt and everyone doesn't understand in one go. So please ask doubts. I think the recording will be shared eventually. If you want, you can just have it there. How much time do I have to put regularly? Okay. What is the deadline for the completion of these or those activities? Fine. Okay, so these are the 6 questions I need to answer. Any more? Okay, yeah. So I think these are the 6 questions I need to answer. So, will fragments be deprecated once Compose becomes more famous? Okay. Will CP help in Android? Okay. Okay, fine. Any more questions? You can just ask. So that's what we are waiting for you to ask questions. Even if it is like basic or you just ask it. How did you get started with your coding journey? Okay, wow. Okay, I'll happy to answer. Uh, how hard is to create a basic Android app like a to-do list? Okay, so we're getting plenty of questions now. Okay, just ask, just think what, like after the meet is over, you are going to create, like you are going to go over the pathways. Every doubt you're getting, just think about it and ask it. We are going to answer it definitely. Okay, I think these are all the questions you need to ask, right? Okay, now can you just make the first question or the most frequently liked question, like that something? Okay, how much time do I need to put regularly? See, this is not a event, like it's mostly a 1 month event. So you had to like complete these pathways within the that 1 month, and how you are doing, it's all up to you, right? Within that 1 month. After the 1 month, we are going to like check your progress, and based on that, we are going to give you certificates and all the goodies that you're going to receive, right? So it's all about 1 month. In that 1 month, you need to complete all the pathways. Now it depends on you. You are just trying to give 2 hours, 1 hour particular day, or you're just trying to complete it. But it's all about learning, and you know, I believe so that if you learn a little by little every day, it'll just help you in the long run. And that's how it's a 1 month event. You just can't expect everything that in the last 10 days I'm going to just सब पढ़ लूंगा सब हो जाएगा ऐसा नहीं होगा just try to in that 1 month give some time and it will help you just if not just ask us the queries Google to hai so it will help you right so just try to divide the time it's based on you because you are having classes also right so if you're trying to do it it will be helpful for you right so it's all completely depend upon you that if within that 1 month how I'm going to you know give my time to this compost camp right so I've answered this question. I think it can be removed. Okay, fine. Now, how hard is to get started with Android and subsequently Jetpack Compose? See, Jetpack Compose, I can tell it's a very latest thing. So it's still, I am also learning, and I'm also learning about what is how to use how this all the functions. What are we learning? Now, hard is not something. At first, everything looks hard, right? Until like you might be learning C++, Java, or CP everything or in web also there might be people from the web domain or flutter or whatever in start everything you it feels like there is no linkage but with time when you just start growing everything will just start making sense to you so if you have a start is the most difficult part. So if you can start, it'll just help you. With time, you can definitely learn. And like everybody in this planet is not like someone who came from above learning everything previously. They are here, they're learning, and that's how they are improving. That's how I can say it to you. So just keep working. You will achieve. You will be expert in Android one day. Okay, so yeah, that is answered. When and how will we get the forms that you have talked about? Okay, so talking about the forms, how you're going to get it, you will mostly be notified through the, I think the Twitter, through the Facebook or the Instagram or wherever the GDSC page is there. You will just upload the Google Forms there with all the information you need.
Okay, so after the completion of the event, you will get the G forms, so you don't have to worry. Just focus on completing the pathway. So as of now, don't worry on like will we receive the certificate or not. Just complete the
Yeah,
pathway. The
yeah,
main
it's more.
motive is to learn.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, definitely, if you have the question that will I get the certificate? So yeah, this is a program where you can, after the Google Forms are there, you will get a certificate based on your progress. Okay, but for now, you just try to think that it's a good way of starting something, a good way of learning something. You're getting a chance. Just try to capture that chance. Okay, fine. That is done. How hard is to create a basic Android app like a to-do list? Okay. So how should I answer it? Like if you already download Android Studio or the Kotlin JDK and the latest version of Android, it's just nothing. It's already, if you just open the Android Studio, it's already there. Hello world, right? You just run the emulator and it's your first Android app will run. And talking about the to-do list, which is there are plenty of information you're going to get. So in starting, you just try to change the background color, you're just trying to take some text, you're just trying to make some random numbers, and that's how I started. So yeah, you can just, it's not hard, it's easy actually, but as you grow, as you learn every functionality later on, it just added, it just becomes advanced. It's easy, of course, to create the basic Android apps. Okay, yeah, this question is answered. Next. Will we have in-person meet for Compose Camp eventually? This Compose Camp, which we are organizing, it's a virtual event because we have two speaker sessions, and both of them, like, they cannot come to campus to teach us. So definitely, it's the two speaker sessions which are going to have on day 3 and day 4 are virtual. So that's why we thought of making the whole event a virtual only. So the event is virtual, so we are not having going to have in-persons meet, because otherwise that would be difficult for the speakers also to come eventually to Silchar, or to teach us. So it's a virtual event, 4-day virtual event. Yeah. Okay, will we get certificates? Yeah, that is done. What is the deadline for the completion of those activities? It's like I think it's from 8th of what is this month? 8th September to ninth or 7th October. I Yeah, it's a 1 month. It will be displayed in the post you're going to get in FB or any social media account where GDSC is. So you're going to get all the information. It's a 1 month, so it's mostly like 7, 8, 9 August, September, October, not August. It's October. Okay, it's a 1 month program. Okay, what is the deadline till that? Right, till the deadline only, till 1 month program only. After that, yeah, that was the deadline. Okay, that is done. How did you get started with your coding journey? Okay, I'll tell you about this, but let me just go to the other questions also. How to manage core with this? Okay. Okay, will CP help in Android, and will fragments to be deprecated once Compose become more famous? I think I'm not in a position to answer this, because I myself don't know, because they are making, like, you should ask someone who is in Google right now. Right, I'm just learning. I'm just teaching. Okay, so I don't, I actually don't know if it's going to be deprecated or not. But yeah, talking about, if you think about it, like, XML is going to be definitely, that old way will be there, but it won't be used eventually so much, right? Because this is more easier and more better way of doing Android, and it will be easy for everyone, for the beginner also, to learn Compose as compared to writing every code in XML. So our second question is done. Yeah, will CP help in Android? Okay, competitive programming, actually it's more about logic, right? CP maybe logic hota hai, and while working on Android also, you had to put logics, right? The structure is there, but the logic is, the brain you had to use, right? We can give you tools or the things, but the logic is there. So definitely, if you are a competitive programmer, or you are a programmer even, it will be definitely going to help you in Android. Okay, the second question is also done. Can you explain more about XML? So XML is more like extensible markup language. So it's all about, I don't know, you might have know. Okay, so XML is like writing the UI, for defining UI, what things we need to write, right? It's like defining the UI. Initially, what was happening is, like, we were, like, you might, the persons who are using Android before you, they know what is XML, what I'm talking about, what is a button, how you add that button, right? How you add the recycle review, everything. So all the UI part is done by XML. All the logic and coding part is done by Kotlin, done in Kotlin or in the main activity. But all the UI part, how the display will going to have, happen in the app is all done by the exam. Okay, so I think the second is done. Okay, so the last is, do we have to do all the pathways? I think yeah, because that's how you will learn. It's not like आगे ऊपर के दो पढ़ लिए and last के दो पढ़ लिए and हो गया. Definitely you need to learn all the everything only. But it's like if one two are missing, we will definitely look. But mostly you should have a gist of what you have learned, right? At last, the most important thing is you are able to learn. You are able to make an Android app. I think that is more important than anything, right? Because that's what this camp is organizing for. The main purpose of it is learning, right? Okay, so I think the third question is also done. Are there prior GDSC events that we can watch to learn more about Android development? Okay, you watch this first, okay, this event, and like I don't know, maybe there are some YouTube tutorial. Like I think the videos are uploaded in the YouTube. I don't know about that, but you just yeah, you can have. I think there are some videos. I don't know about that. I need like maybe some someone else can answer this. I don't know. Okay, we'll just see. But yeah, you just try to focus on what's coming, right? That's more important because they won't be teaching you about Jetpack Compose, and that with technology you need to also grow. So think about completing this event most importantly. Yeah, you might be having some YouTube videos there. Uh, so that we can okay. I think somebody has to answer. Are there any previous videos, or are there any prior GDSC events that we can watch? I don't know about that because like maybe they are uploaded in the YouTube, but I don't know about that. Yeah, so I think we can move on to the next question. Okay, the last is how to manage core with this. Okay, so there that must be somebody from mechanical electrical engineer. And how did I started my coding journey? Okay, so how can I tell? Like it all started because we are of course engineers, and I have interest in. I was earlier interested in Android and coding and everything because that is quite fascinating, right? And since we are becoming engineers and it's fascinating to learn and yeah, we were initially for 2 years we were at home, so we don't have any like laboratories or electrical lab since I'm from electrical engineering, so we don't have previous like to go to lab and to do all this. So that's how I was introduced because I only had laptop at that time. So yeah, initially I started with that, but later on I got interested in it. So that's how you all are going to like you are also like for 1 year you were at home, so you might have started to learn something, and it's quite fascinating to learn the technology to build apps and to you know do the you know all the coding part, and it's quite fascinating of course. So that's how I started and how to manage code with this. Okay, so that's the question, definitely from by an electrical or mechanical department. So yeah, just like you had to manage, right? We are engineers, we had to manage, right? With yeah, like just divide the time like till 5. I think you are having classes. Just try to you know based on it's based on you, right? How you want to manage it. If you're interested in something, you will find out eventually time for it, right? So yeah, I think that's it for today intro session. Thank you for joining, and thank you for listening to for so long. Yeah, it was a nice experience with you all. Thank you so much.